Good morning. I'd like to call to order the investigation committee. I'm going to read this out. Kansas State Board of Nursing, Landon State Office Building, Board of Nursing Library, 1051 investigation committee agenda for September the 4th of 2025. Note the audience may attend in person or by Zoom. Link to access the meeting to follow agenda. All right, start time is 9 o'clock and we're gonna go till we're finished. We've got a quorum today. We have Ms. Ruth or Dr. Ruth Burkhart, Adri Goldsmith sitting as vice chair, and Brenda Sharp as our public member. Our staff is Linda Davies, MSN, BSN, RN practice specialist, Stephanie Wiley, the senior administrative assistant. Again, we do have a quorum today. I'm going to call to order. Do we have on-site packet?
Madam Vice Chair, we do not. I would just also add that Stephanie Wiley is out today and Jill Simons is here.
Oh, I apologize for that. All right. Any additions or revisions to the agenda at this time? All right. Any announcements? Okay. Do we have, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes for June 9th?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair, I move to approve the agenda, or I'm sorry, the minutes from the June 9th, 2025 Investigative Committee is written.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Yes, yes, yes. All those against? And we passed. Okay. Consent item agenda. Do we have any unfinished business? Looks like we do. So, looks like we've got some 5-year combined statute and regulations to review and process.
Yes. Madam Vice Chair and committee members, in your packet beginning on page 7 is an overview of the Nurse Practice Act's review plan that will begin in March of 2026. So the statutes and regulations that were typically being reviewed by the Board of Nursing on a 5-year review cycle are now going to incorporate kind of what the legislators had recommended with all of the regulation reviews this last few years. So it's being incorporated with all of those things. And we are going to then have 10 on the March agenda. 5 of the 7 that are under the statute review work groups purview currently are listed to be on in March as well. So just letting you know, there's 2 that are not, but you can pick and choose which ones you want to go and when you want to do them. So we will start that review process. And then the whole 10 pages of explanation of the overview is included for you guys' review.
And Linda, this is a standard process that this board engages in every 5 years, correct?
Yeah, every 5 years, a statute review, a regulation review comes under review by certain committees. And at any time, the board or the committee can pull a different statute at any time. You don't have to wait 5 years. So, I mean, but it's just typically done every 5 years at a minimum.
All right. Now we're down to new business. Do you want to take it from here on those?
Yes, the KNAP statistical summary, so that I got the reports for fiscal year 25. It is on page 17. I want to point out that 18 were successful, which I find is very good news, that they're taking it seriously and getting the help that they need. The majority listed are in a 3-year program, and I found it interesting that medical offices and clinic settings are now mirroring the number who are being referred from for hospital and long-term care facilities. So the difference in environments is nurses are hurting regardless of where they're working. So I found that was interesting. On the next page, you'll see the quarterly, the last quarter for fiscal year 25, and that's just the data for that piece. I do plan in December, I think it might be nice to give you a visual. So I'm going to go back to the fiscal year's reports and kind of pull some graphs and maybe some trends so you can kind of see just exactly what we're seeing. So it might be a better visual for you. So I do plan to do that going forward in December. I can continue with KNAP updates.
Yes,
if you would
please.
like. Okay. So I met with Stephanie Beecraft, KNAP Executive Director, And so she and I meet at least quarterly just to kind of touch base on KNAP issues, the Kansas Nurse Assistance Program. Currently, there are 100 participants, and the issues that they have worked on, they had some urine drug screen collection site issues and excessive fees for such. They're wanting to do a survey to participants, and then the monitoring interruption was a question that the committee had. So the random drug screens, she's been working on that one. And the random urine drug screens, the issues is because the cost is extra for specimen collection. The nurse has to leave the facility that they're working at to drive to have a visual verified urine drug screen done and then drive back to work. So there were some barriers in play. So Affinity, who does the urine drug screens, is now offering an oral swab. So what that is going to be done, how it's being done is that it's $90, but you get 2 swabs. The first drug screen that you're called for is a urine drug screen. And then the licensee can ask to do the orals. And they will get, I think, up to 5 sent to them. The first one has to be done as a visual live feed with Affinity, and it's a trained person who's understanding what they need to do. But then after that, it's by AI. They're going to use the artificial intelligence to verify that the person is actually doing the swab and that it is the licensee. I thought there was also a marker that they're looking at to make sure that it is that person that is submitting that swab, but I wasn't sure if I wrote that correctly. It is a $90 fee. It's only $75 to do 1 swab, but the $90 fee gives you 2 swabs, one for the analysis and one extra just in case you want to challenge that result. And so if you only have the 1 swab, you wouldn't have anything to challenge with. That would go to a medical review officer to do a confirmation and say, yes, something was there or not. So that is a change, and they do have licensees that are requesting that, and they're starting to use that right now. The pro for that, it tests about 13 to 16 substances with the oral swab. One of the cons, the look back time is not as long. So they don't know how, they may not approve it for every time that the licensee wants to do it. It depends on what they're in rehabilitation for. So KNAP is doing this, and I applaud them. I think this is a really good move.
Great.
Yeah, I've used that
Advance.
before as an employer.
Mhm.
It's actually it was pretty accurate. I'm assuming it's even improved since that.
Yeah. So, and I know Affinity had started the conversation with some of the hospital laboratories to see if they would also do specimen collection sites so that they didn't have to leave the workplace and drive, but there's a confidentiality question for the licensee with the lab and the hospital. And so there was a question. So I think all of that's still being looked at and being worked out, but that is another option if they have to have a urine drug screen and they don't want to leave work. The second thing they're working on is surveys. They're looking to do one for those who have successfully completed, as well as those who have unsuccessfully completed the KNAP program, as well as she's looking to draft one to establish baseline issues for people that are currently enrolled. And so that she can kind of get feedback to kind of figure out what needs to change, what do we need to look at. She and I are both members of that NOOP, that National Organization of Alternative Programs, so that we can kind of like get the current research and current practice from other states and stuff, so we can kind of look to see if there's changes that need to be incorporated. So she's doing a very good job.
I had a thing on that it would be so nice. I know they're going to do the survey, but I would love to get feedback from the nurses that are being referred there to see where we can improve and support the public and our nurses a little better. And I know confidentiality, and I don't know how that would work, but I would really like to know maybe what they wouldn't tell them, but they would tell us. I just feel like it would close the loop.
Okay. So you want feedback as far as the ones the board refers?
Yes, I'd like to know how the nurses, how it worked out for them as far as did they understand the reason why they were sent? Did they think this was a good idea, in their practice, and how it improved or didn't improve, or what can be changed, what they but more, like I said, they may say something different to KNAP, but then they would tell us as a personal experience. Because ours isn't punitive, ours is rehabilitative and protection of the public. So it would be really nice to close that loop.
Okay. I can come up with something and maybe run it by, Dr. Ruth, since you have that background, would you want to work with them, drafting a survey or something? And I can get something out to the ones that we would refer from
I
the
just,
board.
what do you guys think? Do you think that would be effective in helping us with cases?
I think general feedback from those that it goes from investigative committee decision to whatever decision was made, the next step, the whole process. I would like to know if possible, how that was experienced for them, because we have heard some feedback. And we are wanting more. I really want more when I'm back on the committee.
Okay. I can also reach out to other state boards of nursing and see kind of if they also have surveys that the boards of nursing do. Some of them operate their own impaired provider program. Kansas does not, but maybe there is a survey that they do internally from their own standpoint that they might share that would give us a starting point. So I can reach out to that too and see kind of where to start from. But okay, so
I know that's more work, but
no,
I think
it's
it'll make
fine. I
us a
think it
better board.
helps improve the entire process for everybody. Yeah. So a quick note. Okay, and then the final thing was the monitoring interruption, because it was something that you wanted them to come back and kind of show what they're doing. They've been working on this. The domestic travel is at the KNAP's board approval. The international travel is at KSBN's board approval only if the licensee is known to the board. Because Kansas allows the licensee to enter KNAP unknown. But if they have a multi-state license, what we learned in our NLC training is they have 10 days to notify the Board of Nursing that they have entered a monitoring program if they have a multi-state license, because they are not eligible to have a multi-state if they are enrolled in a monitoring program. So it's up to the licensee to notify us, and it is in the KNAP agreement that they have to sign if they do have a multi-state license. So they can refer unknown, but if they do enroll and they have a multi-state, they have to let the Board of Nursing know. So we become aware that they're there, and then we have to drop them to a single state at that time. And it's their safety and the patient safety for them to focus on themselves during their time of needing to be rehabilitated. So Stephanie is looking at surveying other states' monitoring programs and how they handle monitoring interruption also. So she's also inquiring of the NOOP organization as well. What I found interesting, the things that they're working on that weren't on the list of things, but then she said that like they're looking at their evaluators and defining parameters. The evaluations for substance use disorder and mental health and fitness to practice, they're not paid out for health insurance. Health insurance does not cover. And so they often use RADAC, Heartland RADAC, because they offer a sliding fee scale for the substance use disorder evaluation. The mental health evaluations, again, are not billed to insurance. She's still looking for a sliding fee scale for that as well. The fitness to practice evaluations that are sometimes assigned are quite expensive to the licensee. There's a place that does them, but they're $8,500 cost to the licensee. And it's not covered by insurance either. She has been referred to a place in Kansas City that will bill health insurance. So she's inquiring of that person to see how that works. And if that's something that then is an option for KNAP to then refer this person for that type of evaluation from them. So we're looking into those things, but just letting you know, the evaluations are quite expensive and some barriers. The final thing that she's working on, which I really think this is huge. She's looking at applying like a risk analysis that she obtained from another board of nursing will drive the program requirements. So if like somebody needs to come into the program for substance use disorder only, then the program requirements can be X. Or if there's a suspicion of, but there's not a verifiable drug screen or whatever, the program requirements can be tailor-made basically for something, as well as mental health, or if there's substance use and mental health, there's another program, you know, that is tailor-made for that licensee. So she's got that from another board of nursing, and she's been drafting it, and she showed me what she's got, and I was like, when she gets that finalized, I want her to come and present that to you, so you see what she's been doing.
Is this like a decision tree?
It's kind of like a decision tree, yeah. It'll help them in their assessment and what they need to do. So I think that's going very well with KNAP and our
Oh,
discussions.
we're so grateful for KNAP. And I'm sure the nurses that need the assistance are grateful to have a place to go that isn't. I mean, it's expensive. We know it's expensive.
Do you want me to continue with this?
Yes, please.
Okay, so number 4 is the NCSB and failure to renew survey data analysis. It starts on page 19. You had asked to have some sort of survey done to other states for what happens when they fail to renew, what do other states do. So NCSBN has a research department, and so they ran the survey for me to other states, boards of nursing. They conducted it all throughout May of 2025. I got the results like at the end of May, so they weren't in time to get into the June packet. So you're getting them here. I have shared them with Carol, our administrator, so she's aware of them, but you know, they felt that the results were statistically sound, and the analysis is summarized there. 65% of state boards of nursing do not allow a grace period for licensees who fail to renew and continue to work. 78% do not have a state law that supports an allowance of a grace period. 81% reported their board of nursing does take disciplinary action, and the disciplinary action is typically a fine and or CME. They do also, the documents that they verify unlicensed practice with are what we do in Kansas. We get the verification of the licensee's statement, and we also then verify the dates unlicensed that they worked with their employer. So we're right in alignment with the majority of the other states for what we do for unlicensed practice.
To include the reporting on their,
If there's discipline assigned, what I understand with nurses is that once discipline is loaded into the nurses, it is automatically reported into the NPDB per federal
that
statute.
is a discipline, and the other states
Are doing it as well.
Okay,
That's what I understand. Yeah.
thank you so much for that. All right. I lost my place, but I think we're on statute review. Okay, and you were gonna speak on that?
Yes, I would, I'm now vice chair. This is Brenda Sharp, public member. I think for probably 6 or 9 months ago, I and a couple of others began inquiring about some statutes that we understood to have been reviewed by a prior board and prior AAG disciplinary council to look at what kinds of statutes we might want to suggest revisions to that might assist our processes here from a disciplinary perspective, investigative perspective. And so Linda and I worked together to convene a work group. We have met once just to start planning the plan, if you will. And we will be recruiting additional members for that work group, including some external to the organization to be sure that we're getting good feedback from a number of folks. What I've suggested is that we review certain statutes. These are primarily around KSA 65, 1120, 1120A, 1121A, 1129, 1110, 60 through 60-3, 110, and an impaired provider, or an impaired, not an impaired provider, impaired impairment statute to allow us to maybe think a little bit differently about the actions that we take when there's an impaired provider situation. So all that to say, we met once, had a really nice discussion. Carol did a great job of walking us through what it takes to get a statute change, what it takes to get a regulation change. We also discussed sometimes there are political realities that make moving those things forward a good idea or not. Ultimately, we want to protect the practice of nursing and the scope of practice and the rights and availability of practice by our current nursing profession. So we don't want to do anything that jeopardizes the hard work that's been done to improve the professionalism of this field and their practice. So we're kind of looking at getting feedback on these statutes and prioritizing which ones might make sense, which would be the most, we get the most bang for our buck for, essentially, if we went forward and pursued some of those. We don't anticipate pursuing anything in the upcoming legislative session, but rather taking about a year to review, analyze, research, compare to other states, look at best practices. Andy on staff, Andy Martin, also did some research for us that kind of looked at what some best practice work is being done at the national level. And I'll just give you one example that intrigued me, moving away from language that reflects discipline and more to action, to board action. You know, it would take a lot to do that, but I think philosophically, we're working sometimes with statutes that were not only older, but they were designed to keep a thumb on the nursing profession, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think we would like to think about the ways that we move forward and continue to advance this profession, give us more tools in our toolbox as an investigative committee and as a board to keep as many, you know, nurses working as possible while protecting the public. And I just would end with our absolute bottom line is adhering to our charge, which is to protect the public. That's paramount in all of this review. Did I miss anything, Linda, that you'd like to add?
I think that we've looked at other state boards of nursing as far as that alternative to discipline for minor offenses. In Washington and Texas both have programs, and they're not exactly inexpensive, but you know, you look at KNAP and it's not inexpensive for rehabilitation, but there are programs out there that, you know, we could model something after, but does it require a statute change also? Because I don't know that we would have a statute to say that we would have authority, the board would have authority to have someone in an alternative program for a minor offense. And then what is the minor offense? I mean, that needs to be defined by.
With consistency.
With consistency, yes, yes. But the two states that operate their programs are states that are pretty much doing it very well and for quite some time. So, I mean, they would be good models to kind of like review, but it would take time to, I wouldn't be able to do it by December. So a year, 2 years. Yeah.
The AG's office, our assistant AG is on this group, as is our general counsel. We also have Stephanie from KNAP is on the work group, and then we're looking at some of our other nurse association representatives and potentially some of the attorneys that represent licensees who, you know, had to work through these systems as well to help give us that kind of external feedback.
And now we're down to both case management status update.
So as you know, since last September, we started the move to implement an Evoke case management system software, which will eventually have like a board portal also to where we can then submit summaries timely to the committee members, and you can respond in kind individually. And then when you meet as a committee, you would have a collective, this is what you said, this is what you said, this is what you said. You'd have to come together and you know, decide on what you actually wanted to do. But each one of you would be able to have that timely via a portal. And I think that's kind of being tested at the moment.
Maybe even today.
Okay, so I know that our team we designed some test cases, running different scenarios like imposters, people who have multi-state licenses from another jurisdiction that we don't have in our system. How do we track that, log that? Because that's always a barrier for us to do it differently than how we do everybody else. We have application cases that we're gonna test. We have drug diversion cases that we're testing. We have companion cases that we're testing. We even have a HIPAA case that we're testing, right? A social media, HIPAA violation, because that seems to be how everybody communicates currently, is throw it out there and they don't see that there's an issue. So we're testing all of those different things through the system currently, so we can see, are the investigators able to track and log the things that are specific for that type of case? And running into whatever Colton, bless him, he runs the back end of things for us. So when we work with him doing it, he can go in the back end and help fix things or communicate. This is what the team needs in order for this to work more efficiently in the flow. So we're in the testing phase, which I'm excited about. I'm hoping that gets done by the end of September. And then we can have some good feedback for system automation and Colton, and hopefully finalize a lot of things, and then maybe go live will be end of year or something. Yeah. So I'm excited. And then the reports will be so many logs, so many Excel spreadsheets. We'll eventually be able to and I can just use.
We're all cheering over here inside
Right.
our heads.
It would be so helpful. And I have a question. Adrian, is this like a secure SharePoint?
It's similar in that
Okay.
it's a certain platform that they call it Vogue. It's a modern, very secured, and that's some of the stuff we've got to do on the back end. We've got to go through all the security checks and all those kind of things before we can release it to the world. But we'll do some instructional, obviously, at some point, and maybe have a session for learning for board members. But today is potentially, if everything comes together, we're going to do some testing of the back end for the board portal itself. Kudos to the team. They've all done a really great job working on it. It's been a lot of work. It's been a whole agency effort surrounding this, and we really need this to go well, because this is also what we want to reflect into licensing for the more modern platform for that. So really, this is the testing for the entire operations eventually. So
I will say too, I think it's helping me understand when I orient you guys to your committee position on the investigative committee. It's helping me look at the orientation pieces and what you need to have knowledge of during orientation, so that you can, so I might be creating like a little different binder for you that kind of shows all of the things you have to consider, because you will be the ones you have to, will assign a violation. If you believe there's a violation, you will have to assign a discipline if you think there's discipline, and then collectively, what does that look like? So individually you'll do it, but then collectively you'll agree. So it's a little bit different, but not too much. But I think I need to kind of drill down the orientation pieces for you.
it's
Or for
very,
whoever else wants to know.
very exciting. I'm really excited to see this come about. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a
So
long time.
this is one of the
It'll
big
even-
things I wanted to have.
It's gonna even offer the online submission of complaints that I've been asking since December 2019, so.
It's a very nice interface. So,
I want to thank the staff. This is a huge undertaking, and this is something that I believe was a special appropriation from the legislature. So we want to thank them as well for the funding to make this happen and bring us into the current modern era of information access and technology.
It's very exciting. And actually, Linda and I believe Ruth and Tony are going to be going to the session that System Automation is having for the conference. So they'll probably learn some more things they can bring back to us.
Couple
So
weeks, yeah, so we'll bring back.
we'd go, but we've got the post on it for security. So,
Someplace warm?
Baltimore.
Sorry
There's
to
a
hear that.
murder mystery dinner thingy or something, so I'm excited about that. We'll be able to do that. We've done it. Yeah, we'll do it.
you guys will probably win.
We'll come back to Friday.
So was there anything before we do to go to quasi judicial? Anybody?
Is our assistant AG available by chance, so that we could go into an executive session? Looks like he's on.
Okay, yes, he is on, so.
Well, before everybody leaves, I did want to say thank you for all your hard work in getting, these cases out to us.
He asked if, does that say?
We have to get a way for him to call in.
Because he won't be on Zoom. Okay,
We could have him.
he could be on the phone. So shall I wait to make a motion?
Can everyone hear me?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, oh, sorry, guys. So yeah, Jesse Burris is here. Yes, I'm here.
Jesse, this is Carol, and what we have to do is find a way to bring you in differently because Zoom will not stay on when we're in executive session. So I think we're working on a way right now. Just stay tuned just a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can also call in if necessary.
Oh, okay. Can we just call in to number here? See if we know the word. Do you
Let me
want
make sure this.
Rachel?
Yeah. Double check.
And Sam, if
I
she's
don't know,
there.
did we want Rachel in or can she be in? We have to have Jen.
See, general, in case
Okay.
she came as in.
Okay, so that works.
Yeah.
So I think this is gonna be the same.
Perfect, yeah.
And I asked her.
Okay, yeah, that'd be my preference.
Yes, I can have him call that number. That's a good idea.
How long?
Yeah, let's dial in with that meeting.
Yeah, I think it's just all that.
So they can do the exec session.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair. Pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2, I move that the investigative committee recess into executive session for 20 minutes and reconvene at 9:54. Yeah, I can get to it. The meeting will be reconvened by Zoom in room suite 1051 KSMB Library, Landon Office Building, 900 Southwest Jackson, Topeka, Kansas 66612, as stated in the notice of the meeting that was sent to individuals who requested the notice and is published on the board's website at www.ksbn.kansas.gov. The justification is consultation with the board's legal counsel, Assistant Attorneys General Jesse Burris, Sydney Winslow, Samantha Harrington, and Rachel Kinney Townsend that would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. The subject matter to be discussed in the executive session concerns legal issues related to litigation updates on discipline cases and disciplinary counsel processes. Carol Moreland, Executive Administrator, is also included as a client.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
And there's no decline, we all yes. So motion passes.
Okay, Jesse, we sent you the number to call, and Colton will join back in just a bit.
Sorry.
All right, welcome back. Sorry, we had some technical issues, which put us at 10 o'clock instead of when we had planned, but we've got those worked out now. Do I have a motion for the to break for quasi judicial?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair, this is Brenda Sharp. I move that the meeting of the investigative committee be closed to deliberate on matters relating to decisions involving the exercise of quasi judicial functions as authorized by KSA 2013 supplemental 75-4318 G1.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Everyone in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, that was everybody, so we're good. That passed. Okay.
Okay, so
We'll see you in a bit.
we'll see you.
Welcome back to the investigation committee meeting today. We're going to look at the agenda for December.
I think,
Let's do
we'll do some board motions.
okay, let's go over board motions.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee find that reasonable grounds exist for believing the applicant or licensee is guilty of violating the Kansas Nurse Practice Act in the following cases, and that those cases be continued for further proceedings conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Kansas Administrative Procedure Act.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor say yes.
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 Okay. And again, we have 100% on that.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee find the following cases be closed for the reason that no action is needed.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor say yes.
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 Yes. Motion passed.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee approve by consensus the case disposition represented on the spreadsheet titled Reinstatement Applications.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor, yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're good. That passed.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee approve by consensus the case disposition represented on the spreadsheet titled Conversions.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor say yes.
yes.
Yes. And then,
Madam Vice Chair, I move that,
no,
I move that the investigative committee approve by consensus the case disposition represented on the spreadsheet titled Endorsement Applications.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor say yes.
yes.
Yes. Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee approve by consensus the case disposition represented on the spreadsheet titled Inactivated by staff.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor say yes.
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 And that one passed.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee approve by consensus the case disposition represented on the spreadsheet titled New Grads.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor say yes.
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 And that passed.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee approve by consensus the case disposition represented on the spreadsheet titled Cases Not Opened.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor say yes.
yes.
Okay.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that the investigative committee approve by consensus the case disposition represented on the spreadsheet titled Unlicensed Practice.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second,
All those in favor say yes.
yes.
Yes. Motion passed. Okay. Now, are we looking at the agenda for December? Okay. Did anybody have any questions or concerns with that?
As I had mentioned, I might bring back like graphs from the KNAP fiscal year statistics, so you kind of see a visual. And I don't know if there would be another update from the statute review work group.
Possibly if we're able to assemble and meet before then.
Any updates on the go online.
And then do we need to do anything on the 5-year combined, or we're just gonna start on that in March, or does
Starts
that,
in March.
so we don't need to do anything at the next meeting to start?
On the committee responsibilities, are we reading that out?
No.
No, that's just on there, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we're ready to, close to, go over the cases.
Adjourn.
Okay, we're gonna adjourn, and thank you for being here.
Cool.